Broadcasting Corporation. My name is Micheline Taka.
And my name is Abdul Hayi Momin. And in the headlines, Veterinary Service Department to scale up production of vaccines against Newcastle disease as it continues to fight bird flu.
For its research influence, University of Cape Coast ranked #1 university in Ghana, the top university in West Africa, and on the top 5 universities list in Africa.
Also coming up, disadvantaged yet determined to achieve higher goals, the story of a 17-year-old junior high school one mother.
And in news coming from across our borders, nearly 6,000 Boko Haram members, including commander, fighters and their families, surrender to authority in Nigeria. Helping us translate the news in sign language is Robert Fimpo Manzo. The headlines was brought to us: kindness, Manchi biscuit, munch into happiness.
In our very first story, the Veterinary Services Department, with support from the United States Department of Agriculture, is scaling up production of vaccines against Newcastle disease, a deadly infection that affects poultry.
The production of the 1-2 vaccine is to help protect the poultry industry from another outbreak as it battles with avian influenza or bird flu. We'll bring you the story in the course of the bulletin. The University of Cape Coast, UCC, has been ranked among global universities for their research influence. It has also been ranked the #1 university in Ghana, the top university in West Africa, and on the top 5 universities list in Africa.
The announcement was made in the 2022 Times Higher Education Annual Rankings. Universities that published high-impact research on COVID-19 have soared up the league table, with China reaping the most rewards.
The 2022 World University Rankings include more than 1,600 universities across 99 countries and territories, making them the largest and most diverse university rankings.
The Directorate of Research, Innovation and Consultancy at the University of Cape Coast, Professor Ato Ama, spoke to GBC News earlier today.
Our ranking is part of the 1,662 universities that were considered. But then out of the 1,662 universities that were considered, 138 made their debut this year, and UCC is part of that cohort. And among that cohort, UCC is the highest ranked university. So we have to look at the outcome of this ranking in several ways. For China, it may be because of COVID-19, but you know that this ranking is not based on a yearly publication cycle. It's a 5-year duration. So we have come this far over the past 5 years. The aggregate of our research that we have done is what has culminated in this achievement. In the context of UCC, even though we have contributed immensely to COVID-19, I'm not sure whether we can isolate our performance to COVID-19. We have to look beyond COVID-19 to look at what we started doing prior to COVID-19. I must say that since 2016, we've started redirecting colleagues to focus on indexes that are prestigious, indexes that are credible, particularly Sylvia's Scopus database. And we have also encouraged our colleagues to forge partnerships that look at issues that transcend disciplines and boundaries. We have moved from disciplinary research through to transitional research. So we are forging those kind of partnerships, ensuring that the issues that our researchers are looking at cut across disciplines and go above or beyond geographical boundaries. So these are issues that we are considering. So we can say that our performance is not due to COVID-19, or it may be partly to COVID-19. But most importantly, I believe that we can attribute it to the global study that most of our colleagues, or a number of our colleagues, have involved in. Typically, the global burden of disease studies that we've involved in the past 4 or 5 years. We believe that those that are coordinating our research and those that are partnering with us at the university are interested in this.
Now, it gives indication that when they benchmark us against other universities, when they benchmark our performance against what other nations are doing and what other research fields are doing, they know that what we are doing is significant. This means that the funders will be able to give us resources to expand the kind of research that we are doing, and this will also inure to the benefit not only of the University of Cape Coast, but other sectors of the economy.
President Akufo-Addo has inaugurated 2 projects under the One District, One Factory initiative in the Western region. The 2 projects, the Narubez Rubber Factory at Dompim in the Wassa East District and Keda Ceramics at Shama, are expected to complement government's industrialization and job creation agenda.
President Akufo-Addo is on a 2-day tour of the Western region to inaugurate projects under the 1D, 1F initiative. He will also inspect ongoing projects and interact with traditional leaders. The president also inaugurated the Phase 3 and cut the sod for the Phase 4 of the Keda Ceramics factory at Shama with a 5,000 workforce and investment of $150 million. The managing director of Keda Ceramics, Mr. Lorili, said the company is pursuing skills and technology transfer to give opportunity to locals to assume key roles in the company.
This hospital, road nigga, wow, the number. The number said, if you are losing a cable, you can try. I'm not too cool to you. Say, you will feel, you will it to be free. Now, compensation as a market there. You may say a kind of prayer. Let me tell you, I feel the matter. It's a mission of Ukraine. The Bible is showing me.
The Deputy Minister for Trade, Mr. Otrebefi, said the One District, One Factory initiative is on course to create more jobs for the people. President Akufo-Addo said government will partner all companies ready to expand to ensure job creation. The president also called on the chief of Dompim, Nana Kwamena Enimil, and acting president of the Shama Traditional Council, Nana Kwamena Rieno.
The Veterinary Services Department, with support from the United States Department of Agriculture, is scaling up production of vaccine against Newcastle disease, a deadly infection that affects poultry. The production of the I2 vaccine is to help protect the poultry industry from another outbreak as it battles the avian influenza or bird flu.
The Newcastle disease is a highly contagious infection of birds caused by a paramyxovirus that attacks both domestic and wild birds. In Ghana, the deadly disease surges ahead of the Easter and Christmas seasons, killing more than half of birds produced by smallholder farmers. Lack of supply of inputs has slowed the production of the I2 vaccine, undermining the fight against the seasonal virus. It is to address this challenge that the United States Department of Agriculture is supporting the Veterinary Services Department to boost production. The USDA, through its Ghana Poultry Project, has handed over a parent stock farm to the department for production of pathogen-free eggs, a key input in manufacturing of the vaccines. The facility is stocked with 500 beds, feeds, incubators, among others. The vaccine will be sold at cheaper rates to smallholder farmers who are already counting their loss from the ongoing bird flu outbreak.
And the intention here is to produce specific pathogen-free eggs that will be used for Newcastle stable I2 vaccine to improve and also to expand the vaccine production, which will go a long way to support our poultry farmers. We have an MOU in place whereby percentage of the vaccine that we produce will be given to the farmers through the cows, and also the farmers who are affected by avian influenza when they are starting. VSD and GBP will be supporting them with our vaccine that we produce from.
The chief of party of the Ghana Poultry Project, Madame Carrion Debois, said the intervention is aimed at increasing access to the vaccine to help protect the local poultry industry.
It's important for the poultry sector that there is access to vaccines. And vaccines are often, a lot of times, they are very sensitive to temperature. And the Veterinary Service Department in Ghana has been able to develop the I2 vaccine, which is less sensitive to temperatures. So it's much easier then to bring that into the communities.
More than 120,000 birds have died from the avian influenza since mid-July. The Ghana Poultry Project is urging poultry farmers to invest in biosecurity measures to protect their birds against deadly diseases.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, on Friday morning launched the government's One Teacher, One Laptop initiative. It is an initiative to step up teaching and learning in the classroom. Dr. Bawumia said these other initiatives in the education sector are propelling the country towards a well-resourced education system that can train well-best and well-rounded students.
The One Teacher, One Laptop computer is a government initiative to use technology to transform the traditional teaching method from being teacher-focused to the modern method, which is student-centered. Under this initiative, every Ghanaian teacher from the kindergarten, lower primary, upper primary and the senior high school level in the public sector will receive a laptop to enhance teaching in the classroom. The government will absorb 70% of the cost, while the teacher bears the remainder of 30%. The GES says all materials needed for effective teaching by the teachers will be uploaded onto the portable gadget. So the curriculum, Teachers Resource Pack, Continuous Professional Development CPD, the Professional Learning Communities PLC modules, as well as the textbooks on core subjects, among other necessaries. Professor Kwesi Opoku Amankwa is the Director General of the Ghana Education Service.
The interesting thing is that the laptops and how we're going to put them to use will fall directly into your digitalization project, which we know you are so passionate about. We will work to ensure that the laptops will be put to full use.
The General Manager of CAT, providers of the laptops, Mr. Omorala Olatomi, said the EduCat platform will improve on delivery in public schools. This is welcome news for the teachers.
We are hopeful that the laptops will enhance our performances in the classrooms and make us today's teachers ready to be reckoned with anywhere the world over.
Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei Edichum said the use of technology will revolutionize teaching in public schools.
We fully and truly understand that education is what brings about socio-economic transformation. And it's not just an education that is based on the principles of ensuring that the technology that enhances teaching and learning is fully integrated in the work of the teacher, fully integrated in the classroom.
The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, encouraged the teachers to maximize this opportunity to develop the critical thinking, problem-solving and decision-making skills of their students to match up with world bests.
It is my expectation, ladies and gentlemen, that government's investment in the laptops will benefit teachers, but more importantly, the students who ultimately are at the center of the educational ecosystem. I expect dividends such as improved research for teachers, enhanced lesson plans, better analysis of student performance, and new opportunities for boosted digital skills.
All the 71 teachers at the St. Mary's Senior High School in Accra were the first to receive their laptops under this initiative.
The first one went to the headmistress, now to the teachers.
On his working visit to the Bulsa North municipality of the Upper East region to inspect the extent of damage caused by the recent floods in the area, Roads Minister Mr. Kwesi Amoakwata said the destruction on the portion of the road leading to Dima Township is dangerous and must be worked on immediately.
Dima Township is lying in a lowland area. The reason the area is always flooded whenever the rains are heavy. Most of the roads linking the township are currently unmotorable due to torrential rains. Even though some of the roads that were washed away in 2015 and 16 have been awarded on contract, contractors who were on site before the 2020 elections left site immediately after the election, claiming that the government had not been able to honor their certificates. Roads Minister Mr. Kwesi Amakwata said the road leading to the Dima Township must be expanded. He said the historic mahogany trees along the road will be cut off to solve the perennial flooding in the area. Mr. Amakwata said there would be proper engagement with the chiefs and people in the area and the technical team from the ministry on the need to cut down some of the trees.
We want to build strong, good roads and widen and raise, the topography here, okay, to avoid these perennial experiences. Some of these trees must go. The appropriate steps will be taken.
The Upper East Regional Minister, Mr. Stephen Yakubu, assured the people that government will work on how to deal with the disasters which nobody has control over.
It is only MPP government that is doing this. It has been here for many years. No government dealt with it. An adult government, an MPP government, and with a hard-working Minister of Roads, we want to deal with it.
Some residents complained about the behavior of almost all the contractors in the region to move to site whenever a top-level government team is paying a working visit to the region and leave site immediately after the visit.
Well, Ghana is fast becoming a hub for alms begging, where foreigners and some Ghanaian nationals have turned the act into business using children as gimmick. The culprits include Chadian parents who parade their children at traffic intersections or major pedestrian walkways and on footbridges. These child beggars usually tag at pedestrians, especially those who look financially above average. Some pedestrians are compelled to give them money to avoid embarrassment. Commuters on Trotro are not spared. Some of the beggars are so determined and knock incessantly on the glass windows of private cars, forcing motorists to give them money. However, some of the beggars are destitute and their only means of survival is begging. We earlier spoke to Dr. Vincent Ajali Mensah on this matter.
We sincerely apologize for the loss of sound. We'll bring you that story again. So, it was the bright lights of the city that were the magnets for her mother some 15 odd years ago. With virtually no particular destination in mind in Accra, they set off from North Ghana in search of a more promising situation. They ended up as squatters and lived rough on the street. The school of hard knocks taught them a lot of lessons. Her mother passed, Rita got pregnant, and it's still a hard knock life. But Rita is not deterred. Her teachers say she was a brilliant student before childbirth. However, her academic performances has dropped. She is determined, though, to turn her situation around and make something positive of her life. Meet teen mom Rita Awuni.
As of 7:30 a.m., lessons had already begun, but with just a handful of students. Missing was Rita Awuni. Her seat was empty. About an hour later, Rita arrived with her baby on her back. This has been the routine of the 17-year-old since she became a teen mother, balancing motherhood and her education. The dream of becoming a teacher in future cannot be truncated because of a setback. But that dream seems vague under the present circumstances of living on the streets with her son. As fate will have it, Rita herself was raised on the streets by her mother until she passed on in 2015. She had to grow up overnight, and that began the task of fending for herself when her relatives could barely cater for her due to their poor background. Since you came to Accra, how has life been for you?
It's not easy. It's difficult for me to live alone whilst my mom and dad is not with me. And I was sleeping outside too.
So how do you take care of yourself? Who pays your school fees? Who gives you money? How do you take care of yourself?
We don't pay school fees, but when I close from school, I do sell pure water. That's the work I've been doing.
So you're living on the streets, you're living alone by yourself. What's your dream?
My dream is to achieve something. I want to be a teacher. And when my son too grown up, I'll tell him what happened when I was young.
Rita enrolled at the Independence Avenue 2 Basic Cluster of Schools, late 2019, in JHS 1, after shuffling between several schools in the capital. The free basic education was her savior, but COVID-19 hit the country in March 2020, and that put a spoke in her wheel because schools were shut. Trying to navigate the uncharted waters of COVID-19, the young girl got pregnant.
When I got pregnant, I don't even know he's the one who told me that I was pregnant. So when he told me, and I bought some tests and I test. When I test, it is true I was pregnant. And when I went and told me to abort it, and I said no. And he said I should abort it so that I can continue my school, and I said no. I'll still give birth. And he said okay.
Is the father of the child aware that you have given birth?
He is aware.
What has he done about it?
Nothing.
So they are not taking care of you? Do you hear from Frederick? Why did you decide to continue with your education even after giving birth?
I've not complete from the end. I want to complete. Maybe if in any work, maybe I can use the JHS certificate to do it so that my son will not suffer.
Since returning to the school to complete her JHS, teachers at the school have been very accommodating and offer child care support in all forms to lessen the burden on the teenage mother. With its mission to ensure that Ghanaian children of school-going age are provided with quality education and training through effective and efficient management of resources, and to make education delivery relevant to the nation's manpower needs, the Accra Metro Education Directorate is leaving no one behind.
There's an attendant, so when the girl actually comes to school, the baby is sent to KG, and the baby will be taken care of by the attendant. Anytime that the girl wants to breastfeed the child, she comes out to go and then breastfeed. In the morning, through my guidance and counseling coordinator, we are able to provide her some breakfast. The school also tries to provide a lunch, and we move on. We are trying to encourage her. She's in the final year. Have my frontline officers who move out over there to actually encourage the girls to actually refrain from this girlfriend relationship and boyfriend relationship, so that they will be able to go through the education successfully and become important personalities in the future.
Rita is in JHS 3 preparing for her BECE while her son is in KG at the same school. Here is where she calls home. Her hope and prayer is to break the cycle of living on the streets and raise her son in a decent home, not to also fall prey to the dangers of street life, a vicious cycle of abuse, crime, drugs and neglect. For GBC News, Clara Mlano reporting.
Wow, what's a story? And if the cameras were on my colleague Michelin, she's in tears right now. The full version of the story, I tell you, will be aired on DTV Breakfast Show on Monday, 6th September 2021. I'm sure you don't want to miss the story of perseverance against all odds. And I'm excited that the dynamics are changing, that a girl like that will be allowed to continue her education. We'll bring you a fuller version, like I said, on Monday on the Breakfast Show on GTV. In other stories, the Accra Tesano branch of the Rotary Club International, in collaboration with the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, has handed over a mechanized borehole to the people of Achim Dochi in the Kwabibrem district of the Eastern region. The over 34,000 Ghana cedi project is a major solution to water challenges that have plagued the community for years.
Achim Dochi is a farming community with a population over 700. The Adamasu River used to be the community's main source of drinking water until a mining company in the area destroyed the river and diverted its course, making drinking water a big challenge for Achim Dochi. The Tesano branch of the Rotary Club International visited the community some 5 years ago and upon realizing their plight, decided to assist them with a mechanized borehole. The group assessed the water under the ground and found that it had high iron content, which could affect the health of the people if they consumed it. The Rotary Club therefore decided to construct the borehole with an osmosis reverse treatment for the iron content to be stabilized for consumption. Madame Gifty Gleme is the president of the Accra Tesano branch of the Rotary Club International.
We would agree that water is life, so every day we need to do our best to ensure that we work in line to achieving SDG Global 6 of clean water and sanitation, which is an enforcement of one of the Rotary Foundation's area of focus for providing clean water, sanitation and health.
The Jasehine of Achim Dochi thanked the Rotary Club for coming to their aid.
Yes, and Oma Bayan Suisse, it woke a seer pa Yamada Roma, yes, Sabinoma, Yenum, a area de Babrayan. And it's a best switcher, roaches for Mwabaye, pipe no Amayen.
Some community members also expressed their appreciation for the project and promised to maintain it. A water management committee has also been formed and trained by the Rotary Club to manage and maintain the facility.
You're watching News Hour live on GBC News and News and Governance channel and on GTV and Facebook as well. We'll be back shortly. Please do stay.